About to go to my old podcast studio to talk about something that's been on my mind, so let's freaking go! Welcome back to my old studio. I need to tell you something that your former employer doesn't want you to know. I'm a resume writer and LinkedIn strategist, and I recently had a client come to me, a high-level executive. Okay, she's at a Fortune 500 company, life sciences. She'd been laid off, and she was using her severance money to pay for my services. And when she told me why, I knew I had to make this video. Here's what happened. Her company offered her professional outplacement services as part of her severance package. Sounds awesome, right? It's free resume help, career coaching, the whole deal. But there was just this one problem. The vendor they provided was just absolutely terrible. And this isn't just her experience. This is almost every corporate outplacement vendor out there. So today, I'm going to tell you 3 things your company hopes that you never, ever figure out. Your severance package is negotiable, even when they say it's not. And most importantly, are you listening? How to actually negotiate for what you need. So let's get into it. Okay, first thing, your severance package is negotiable. It's negotiable. I don't care what they told you. I don't care if they handed you a packet and said, this is standard, everyone gets this, just sign right here. I don't care if HR looked you in the eyes and said, unfortunately, there's no room for negotiation. That is not true. Here's how the traditional severance process works. You get laid off, they hand you a severance agreement, and it says, we'll give you ABC. Maybe it's 12 weeks of pay, right? Maybe it's 6 months, whatever it is. In exchange, you sign this release saying that you won't sue us. They present it like it's a done deal, right? So sign on the dotted line, move on with your life. But here's what they're not telling you. Severance agreements get modified all the time. Why? Because every single person has a different risk profile to the company. Let me break this down for you. If you're 37 years old, right, they're not really worried about you. You're pretty young. You'll find another job. You're probably not going to sue them for age discrimination. But if you're 57, different story. Now they're thinking about age discrimination lawsuits. Now they're worried you're going to walk that customer list straight to a competitor. Maybe you signed a non-compete agreement, but it's in a state where those aren't really enforceable. And you're planning to go work for their biggest rival. They know they can't really stop you, but they'd sure like to try. Maybe you have emails, documentation, proof of something really shady that went down. You're not threatening them. You don't have to. Every single person represents a different level of legal risk to the company. And companies will absolutely pay more money to make bigger risks go away. This is why severance is negotiable. They're not just paying you for years of service, they're buying protection from potential legal action. They're buying your silence. They're buying their own peace of mind. So when they tell you it's non-negotiable, what they really mean is we're hoping you don't know it's negotiable because if you don't push back, we save money. Now let's talk about those outplacement services that they're probably offering you. Okay, so you probably know the pitch if you've been in this situation. We want to support you in your transition. We've partnered with XYZ Career Services to provide you with resume writing, LinkedIn optimization, career coaching, interview prep, LinkedIn ghostwriting, everything you need to land your next role. In theory, it sounds amazing, right? They're really taking care of you. Except here's the thing. These vendors are almost universally terrible. I've had client after client come to me after using their company's outplacement vendor, and every single one of them say the same thing. I wasted 3 months with them and got nothing useful. So you're probably wondering, well, why the heck are they so bad? Well, first, these are bulk contracts. Your company isn't paying for premium, individualized service. They're paying for the cheapest option that checks the box of provided career services. The vendor is incentivized to process as many people as quickly as they possibly can with the least amount of actual expertise. Second, these services use templates like cookie cutter resumes, generic LinkedIn advice, one size fits all strategies. And if you're an executive, just absolutely forget about it. They have no idea how to position someone at your level. Third, and this is the kicker, the people writing your resume at these places usually have absolutely no business writing executive resumes. They're not specialists. They're not deeply embedded in your industry. They don't understand how to tell your story in a way that resonates with the people who are hiring at your level. I had a client who was a VP of operations. The outplacement vendor gave her a resume that looked like it was written for a mid-level manager. No strategic accomplishments, absolutely no board-level language, no executive presence whatsoever. She sent out over 50 applications with that resume. Guess what happened? Nothing. She heard nothing. So she came to me. I rewrote it, and within 2 weeks, she had 3 conversations going with recruiters. That's the difference between a subpar resume and one that's actually written by someone who knows what they're doing. And look, I totally get it. The company is offering this service for free. You feel like you should take advantage of it. But here's the reality. Free isn't valuable if it doesn't work. You're burning time, which is your most precious resource when you're job hunting, on services that just aren't going to help you land the role that you want, especially if you're a senior executive. If you're a director, VP, C-suite, these outplacement vendors are not equipped to serve you. They don't understand your market. They don't know how to craft your narrative, and they're going to waste your time. So here's what you do instead. When you sit down to negotiate your severance, and yes, you are going to negotiate, here's what you need to know. Step 1, do not sign immediately. They're going to pressure you. They're going to imply that you need to sign quickly. They might even give you a deadline. But here's the truth. You almost always have time to review the agreement. In many states, you legally have to be given time, especially if you're over 40. Take the agreement home, read it carefully. Better yet, have an employment lawyer look at it. Yes, it costs money up front, but a lawyer can often help you negotiate thousands of dollars more. It's totally worth it. Step 2, understand your leverage. What makes you a risk to the company? This is where you need to be honest with yourself. Are you over 40 and especially over 50? That's age discrimination territory. They know it, you know it. You don't have to threaten legal action. In fact, don't. But they're already thinking about this risk. Do you have client relationships, proprietary information, or knowledge that could be valuable to a competitor? That's leverage. Were there any questionable circumstances around your termination? Anything that could look bad for them if it came to light? That's leverage. Did you have a non-compete, but you're in a state where it's not enforceable? Or are you planning to move a state where it's not enforceable? That's leverage. You don't walk in and say, I'm going to sue you if you don't pay me more. That's aggressive and counterproductive. But you do walk in understanding what risk you represent and you negotiate accordingly. Step 3, ask for what you actually need. This is the key move, and this is where the outplacement services come in. Let's say your severance package includes 12 weeks of pay and professional outplacement services through Vendor X. Here's what you say. I appreciate the outplacement services, but I've done my research, and I know I need specialized support for my level. I'd like to request that instead of the standard outplacement package, you allocate $5,000 specifically for executive resume writing, LinkedIn optimization, and personal branding services with a specialist of my choosing. You're not asking for more money out of thin air. You're asking them to redirect the money they were already going to spend on a useless vendor towards something that will actually help you. And here's the beautiful part. They were probably going to spend that much or even more on the outplacement vendor anyway. So from their perspective, it's cost neutral. They're just writing a check to a different provider. But from your perspective, it's life-changing because now you can work with someone who actually knows what they're doing. Negotiate the cash severance too. Don't just focus on the outplacement services. If you have leverage, ask for more severance pay as well. If you're older, if you have sensitive information, if there were questionable circumstances around your layoff, this is the time to use that leverage. You can say something like, given my unique circumstances, I'd like to request an additional 10 weeks of severance pay. How much should I ask for? That depends on your situation, your leverage, and the company's standard practices in most cases. But a good rule of thumb, if you have real leverage, you can often negotiate 20 to 50% more than their initial offer. Again, you're not threatening, you're not being aggressive, you're simply making it clear that you understand your value in your position and you're asking for fair compensation. Step 5, get everything in writing. Once you've negotiated, make sure every single thing you agreed to is in the final severance agreement. Do not accept verbal promises. Don't accept, we'll handle that separately. Everything in writing. And then, and only then, you sign. Okay, so let's say you successfully negotiate. You get your enhanced severance package and you get that $5,000 allocated for professional resume and branding services with a specialist of your choice. Now what? Now you come work with someone like me, someone who actually specializes in executive resumes and LinkedIn optimization for senior level professionals. I'm not going to give you a template. I'm not going to churn out a generic document. I'm going to sit down with you, understand your career story, figure out what makes you truly unique, and write a resume and LinkedIn profile that positions you as the strategic, high-value executive that you are. That's what my client did. The Fortune 500 executive I mentioned at the beginning, she used her severance money to invest in proper marketing materials. And you know what? It was worth every penny, because when you're applying for 6-figure or 7-figure roles, you can't afford to have mediocre materials representing you. The hiring managers and recruiters at that level can spot a template from a mile away. They can tell when someone just plugged their job duties into an AI tool or worked with a low-tier vendor, and it immediately disqualifies you. But when your resume tells a compelling story, when your LinkedIn profile positions you as a thought leader, when every word is chosen strategically to showcase your value, that's when doors start opening. So here's the bottom line. Don't accept the first severance offer that they give you. Your severance is negotiable, even when they say it's not. Don't waste your time with low-quality outplacement vendors. Negotiate for the budget to work with a real specialist. And understand your leverage. If you're older, if you have sensitive knowledge, if there were any questionable circumstances, use that to negotiate a better package. Companies are willing to pay to protect themselves from risk. Make sure you get what you deserve. If you found this helpful, drop a comment below. And if you need help with your resume, LinkedIn, or overall executive branding strategy, reach out. Let's make sure your next career move is your best one. Thanks for watching and good luck out there.